Leanne Piano here with a final clip from my keynote, Go For It Leadership. You know, as a leader, you will discover your destiny, and your destiny is not just about you. It's about your ability to lead and influence others. Leadership guru John Maxwell says that leadership is influence, nothing more and nothing less. And I agree. In this clip, I'm going to share the one concept that got Edward Lorenz laughed out of the New York Academy of Sciences conference in 1963, but was later found to be accurate, authentic, and viable, and is tied directly to your ability to maximize potential in your team members, raise up leaders in your organization, and if you utilize it, you could create world changers and history makers. Take a look. In 1963, a man by the name of Edward Lorenz introduced a concept at the New York Academy of Sciences conference. And he introduced the concept called the butterfly effect. Simply stated, the butterfly effect is when a butterfly begins to flap its wings, it affects air molecules that affect other air molecules, so on, to the degree that that movement is capable of starting a hurricane on the other side of the planet. Well, he was laughed out of the conference. But you know what? 30 years later, physics professors from all over the world concluded that that concept, the butterfly effect, was accurate, it was authentic, and it was viable. To give you a practical example of how powerful this is and how what you do matters in the most amazing way, in 2004, ABC ran a series called Person of the Week. And they said that in the fourth week of April of that year, they named a 91-year-old man, Norman Borlaug, as Person of the Week. And a lot of people were puzzled going, who the heck is Norman Borlaug? Well, he was a man that was responsible for drastically and dramatically changing the world in which we live. You see, he created a hybrid seed of corn and wheat that was disease resistant and could grow in arid climates. But I don't believe it was Norman Borlaug at all that should have got Person of the Week. I believe it was a man by the name of Henry Wallace. Now, Henry Wallace was one of Roosevelt's vice presidents. As you know, he served 4 terms and he had 3 vice presidents. But before Wallace was VP, he was Secretary of Agriculture. When he was elected VP, he used his power to create a station in Mexico whose sole purpose was to create a hybrid seed of corn and wheat that could grow in arid climates, where no other seed could grow before. He put in charge of that project Norman Borlaug. It was Borlaug who won the Nobel Prize, but seeing the connection, I really think it was Henry Wallace that should have won that Person of the Week, and I think it was Wallace who really saved the 2 billion lives. Or was it George Washington Carver? Which you probably don't know about George Washington Carver was that when he was 19 years old and attending Iowa State University, one of his professors allowed him to take his 6-year-old son on botanical expeditions. So when nobody was looking, George Washington Carver flapped his butterfly wings in the direction of little Henry Wallace, giving him a passion for agriculture. So I really believe it was George Washington Carver that saved the 2 billion people. Unless it was the farmer from Diamond, Missouri, whose name was Moses, his wife Susan, and he had a thriving farm, and they were a target for raiders. Well, one January night, the raiders attacked the farm, burning buildings, killing many, and dragging off Mary Washington, who refused to let go of her infant son, George. Susan and Mary were great friends, so Susan initiated a meeting with the raiders the very next night at dusk to trade the one horse they had left for the lives of Mary and her baby son. When Moses showed up to meet the raiders, they took the horse from him, informed him they killed Mary, and tossed him a gunny sack that held the body of baby George, who was naked, cold, and near death. Moses immediately ripped open his jacket and put the baby close and walked a mile back to their farm, depositing the baby into the arms of his wife, Susan. That night, they decided to raise baby George as their own, giving him the name George Washington Carver.